H3, the show about health, hope, and happiness. My name is Allan Friesen, the acapellist. With me is Brother Scott Sweetman. How you doing tonight, Brother Scott?
I'm doing great, Allan. It's a little bit overcast. Wind is picking up, but that will not dampen our spirits here on H3.
No, sir. No, sir. Yes.
And I can hear you now, so that's good. I was worried we were going to have to. Do you know sign language?
I think it would have been a pretty slow show if it was going to rely on my sign language. That's for sure. So.
Our podcast friends might not have appreciated it. So.
Exactly. That's right. Yes. That wouldn't have been very good, but yeah. But anyways, we're back. We can hear each other. We can see each other. It's all good. Last week we didn't have a show, and I was away. But we're back at her here, and I think we're going to talk about my experience last week. Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, we are. Allan, just for everyone out there, Allan was away last week, and he attended something called the Big One in Glendale, California. And but it was a whole pilgrimage. It was not simply jumping on a plane, flying in comfort, strolling into a 5-star hotel. No. My friend, the intrepid traveler, tell us about it, buddy.
Oh, yeah. It was quite an experience. And I really didn't have that much of a plan, just that I wanted to be there. And I had other commitments I had to finish up. So I ended up on Wednesday night around 7:30. I left Kananaskis and started heading towards Glendale, California with my car. And as you know, Scott, I have an old Tesla, and basically you drive for 2 to 3 hours, then you have to charge for 30 to 40 minutes is kind of the cycle, right? Yeah. And so then what I did is I just put a little foam matty in the back seat. Put the back seats down, and then I would just go and plug the car in, hop into the back, have a little nappy, and then when the car was all charged up and I was refreshed with my little nap, go down the road. So it ended up taking to get down to Glendale, California, 37 hours of 37 hours, yeah. So I missed the whole first day of the conference, which was Thursday. Missed the whole first day of the conference, right? But I was there bright and early Friday morning, and the conference was really, really good. Basically, the big one is an event of Kyle Cease, and Kyle Cease is a very well-known stand-up comic, had an amazing career as a stand-up comic, and then basically had the calling to do this other more transformational work kind of a thing. And so that's what he does. So this event that he has, the big one, and other events that he has different courses and books and things that he has done are all around kind of unleashing your full and complete creative and spiritual capacity so that you can have the best possible human experience, life experience possible, right? That we're all spiritual beings on this human journey. And then how do we maximize that? And what is the calling that we are saying no to, or that we're fearful about, moving forward with, right? So it was a great thing. There was lots of singing, lots of dancing.
The title of the event is the Big One, but then the descriptive title is Evolving Out Loud. Is that right?
Yeah. Evolving Out Loud is kind of that describes the whole Kyle Cease platform, if you will, right? Oh. And now he was just himself, but now he's actually got three other partners, but two that I'm more familiar with. Dr. Kim is just like, she's just the most beautiful human being I think I've ever met, and she's very intuitive, very caring.
You said that, Allan.
I'm sorry about that, Scott. Yeah.
You said present company excluded. Oh, sorry. Go
ahead. She's amazing healer and very insightful. That she meets people, she kind of reads them, connects with them, that kind of a thing, and is able to kind of help them move forward, right? So she's amazing. And then Aaron, can't even think of Aaron's last name, but Aaron is a very talented guy. On his website, he's got like a Kundalini rising type of an experience, like kind of a mini Kundalini course and meditation courses and breathwork courses. And so I've now, with the whole evolving out loud, I've signed on for what they call is their absolutely everything pass. And so it's like, yeah. So it's like 2 or 3 times a week when you're meeting with these folks, right? And then you're kind of, just getting encouraged, supported, hugs and love and hugs and affection kind of a thing in terms of that, carry on bravely on your vision that you got happening here. So yeah, it was great.
Where do you think this fits in terms of, like your commitment to this was amazing. Obviously, most people wouldn't commit to that type of travel. But it makes it, cost-wise, it's more effective. And there's some video online of, a part of your trip to the Redwood Forest, and the trip itself was amazing, right? Harrowing, exhausting, but amazing, right?
It's probably going to take a few days to get my sleep cycle back because, as you can imagine, I didn't sleep for here's a 8-hour block of time. It was like an hour here and then 40 minutes here and then 2 hours there. Like, just if I started doing the head nod, I'd just pull over and sleep, or wherever that happened to be, basically. So yeah, but yeah. And when you talk about the cost of it, I don't know if I told you this before, but my old Tesla is one that has unlimited supercharging. So that means I didn't pay a nickel for energy this whole trip. Get down, plug her in, get the free power, and off you go again. So it's like
you should be driving all over North America. I didn't know that. Holy cow! Can I borrow your car?
Well, you know what? I might just make that bed thing in the back a little more permanent. Do some more road trips because it was fun.
Wow, yeah. That's they don't offer that anymore, do they?
No, they offered it from cars like the first Model S was made in 2012, and mine's 2013. So the first couple years they offered this unlimited supercharging, right?
Wow.
And so even if you buy a used Tesla today, but you buy one that's in that age range, it'll have the unlimited supercharging. So
wow.
Yeah.
So basically, you made an investment that gave you unlimited power for however long you can keep it on the road.
Exactly. Yeah. And my car's got it, I think I'm now 320,000 Ks on it now. And
after that done last weekend, right?
Yeah. And so it's just I just still love driving that car, and it's such a beautiful car and so comfortable, and the acceleration is intoxicating, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing. So yeah,
that's a perfect fit for you. Since I remember when you bought it. And it has been a perfect fit for you personally, lifestyle, everything. Like it's one of those investments that you just never look back. Sometimes, you have some trouble with it, but that any mechanical thing, you're going to have some trouble. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's always going to be things. So, but anyways, love the car, and it was a very inexpensive trip, just basically meals and now I didn't have a shower for a week. So that was like a little bit of a challenge, but other than that, everything else was good. So,
well, it was like being on maneuvers or something, right? It was good.
Exactly.
But getting back to the big one, how would you classify that experience? Like, is it religious? Is it physical? Is it all of the above? I know you did a lot of singing and you're very outgoing, with people you met. And where did it fit in with your evolution? I'll use their word.
Well, okay. So I think that a big part of it for sure is spiritual, no question, and not in a traditional dogmatic religious type sense, but in spiritual, in that we are all spiritual beings having this human experience, right? And so there's that aspect of it, which was huge. But then there's also all of the recognition of where we've all experienced trauma or traumatizing events, and those traumatizing events have created in us some kind of belief system about us that is less than ideal. That is like, I'm too whatever, too old, too young, too fat, too skinny, too not smart enough, whatever it is. Some kind of a limiting belief about yourself that is kind of impairing and not allowing you to be the full and complete expression of who you are. And that this was really an effort to kind of release those barriers, pull the brake off kind of a thing to say, just like move forward with with confidence and not knowing what's going to happen next, kind of a thing, but being open for that experience. One thing that one of the things they brought up is, let's say you had to make a change in your life, and it's easy to see all the negative things, what you're going to lose, right? Well, if I do this, people are going to not like me. People are going to say, I can't be your friend anymore, right? Like, or, that kind of a thing, or, that those kind of things could happen. So you see all the negative things that can occur, but you don't know what all the positive things are until you take the leap, right? Until you do that and say, this is who I am, right? His big thing is about discovering who you are, right? What you are. And so once you discover that, then the rest of the path becomes easier because you're in alignment with who you actually are, right? You're not doing things so that people will still like you, or you're not doing things so people will like you or people will accept you. You're doing them because that aligns with your soul and your proper unfoldment, if you will, or maybe not proper is not the right word, but the optimal unfoldment of this one shot we got, this one human journey that we're on, right? And then it just kind of addresses in that the ability to kind of take the brakes off, accept who you are, and then find others that accept you exactly as you are, right? And then you have kind of your tribe, right? That that they're going to be supportive, that they're going to want you to unfold to your highest and best self, and you're going to want them to unfold to their highest and best self. So, yeah.
That's really interesting you use that metaphor, because in the conference we were at 2 weeks ago, yes, one of the guys basically started with nothing, and he's built a multinational billion-dollar company. And he was talking about success and how you succeed. And he said, success is really jumping out of an airplane and missing the earth, like missing the ground. And he said, we were so convinced that there is no option except hitting the ground. We basically just wait to hit the ground. And we're like that in so many things of our life that we just don't see there being any other options. So we just accept that if we jump out of a plane, we're going to hit the ground. Yeah. And so many times success is breaking free of that. Oh, well, if just what you said, right? Like if I do that, I'm going to fail and people won't respect me and people think I'm a weirdo or whatever. So I think that, I think that idea is a really good one. But this wasn't just like a talk, right? Like the three people didn't stand there and lecture at you for the talk.
They had some presentations, but most of them, this is the Kyle Cease way. There is no script, right? It's just like he gets up and starts talking, and whatever comes out of his mouth is what happens, right?
I don't like our show.
Yeah, it is. It's very simple. And I love that. Aaron, like in contrast, had like a script and here's what I'm going to guide you through, walk you through, which is good. Like that's great. But the whole Kyle Cease kind of free-flowing type of a format like really resonates with me more, right? And I love it with Kyle Cease and with Michael Bernard Beckwith. I love sometimes when they are flowing, they're moving, they're like engaging, right? And then it's just like, oh, that was really good. Like, after it's flowed through them, they say, oh shit, that was a good one, right? So that this insight just kind of came through them, and then they, recognize that came through them. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah.
One of the most popular guys on the internet right now is a comedian, and I don't know if he has any jokes. He goes to these shows. He's incredibly popular, young guy, kind of attractive, curly hair, funny as all get out. And he just calls people out of the audience and riffs with them. Like he doesn't tear them down or just like, and he does the same thing. He'll say something and he'll start laughing. He'll turn around. He's like, God, that was funny. He's just like, but he's so popular. If you go on, Instagram or one of those, you're going to find him because he's just, people love that spontaneity. I think we connect with it, right?
I agree. I think we do too. One of the exercises, I want to share one of these exercises. I thought you'll find it interesting. I think it was called Ponos, I think what the exercise was.
Oh, Ponos.
But the idea is you work with a partner and you express to that partner something that you regret, right? Or that you're basically asking for forgiveness for, right? I regret and I feel sorry for, X that
But you're not asking that person. They represent something bigger, or
they're actually representing that they're going to be the human stand-in for whoever you feel you have to apologize. So let's say it's your parent who has passed on, right? Like they're not there anymore, but this partner can be the surrogate for that, if you will, right? Yeah. So you apologize, right, about what it is that concerns you, whatever it is, right? And then the other person's job is to accept your apology and kind of accept your apology and kind of validate the worth of that person who made the apology, right? And then the person who gets that, that their apology was accepted, just basically says, thank you, I love you, hug. That's the thing, right? And so I was partnered up with this young black gentleman. His name was Leon, very nice young man. And so, what he felt he had to apologize for was interesting, that he felt that he was kind of a leech, if you will, on his friends, that he goes over and hangs at his friend's place and eats their food. And he felt that they would be upset with him because he's just there to eat their food, that kind of a thing, right? And so, such a small thing, but that's kind of how he perceived it, right? And this was something he felt he had to apologize for. And then when I'm talking with Leon, I'm saying, okay, so Leon, let's think about this. Your friends, I'm sure, aren't like counting how many chips you've had. Like, they're happy for that you're there and they enjoy your company. And, your concern about this is your concern, not theirs, right? So one, I don't think you owe anybody any apologies. But two, and I'm sure the people that your friends are happy to have you there and happy to share what they have with you, right? But I don't think you owe anybody apology, but you are forgiven, right? Absolutely. And then, so then after that, he said, oh, thank you and love you. And we had a nice little hug, right? But man, there were people that were having, they were crying and they were just like having these huge releases, that kind of a thing. And it was such a warm and welcoming environment. Like there was this one younger woman I met and she was just crying and crying and crying. I said, hey, like, would you like a hug? So I just basically held her and she cried for, 10 minutes or something like that. And then she said she felt better. And I said, okay, great. Well, if you need another hug, come back and see me. So like,
a lot of religious communities, and I did a study, Professor Aaron Phillips and I did a study on Presbyterian Church in Manitoba, beautiful Catholic church. And the confessionals were open at the top. And traditionally, they're very quite sealed. And the priest that we were talking to said, well, and the church was designed a little bit like a stadium and kind of in reverse, so that the priest actually would hear what was directed at him as well as what he or she, well, Catholic, he would direct out. And he said, well, actually, in our community, we use public communal confession. If somebody wants to use the confessionals, we can. He said, but as a community, we really find that just getting up and sharing, often people are, like you said, very upset and carrying around this heavy, heavy weight that when they share it with other people are like, wow, that's like not a big thing. Why are you beating yourself up?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and how, I'm sorry, finish your thought.
No, I was finished, sorry.
Yeah, so how wonderful is that this person that has this burden feels free enough, feels able to express it in this group and know that they're still going to be loved after they express this thing that makes them, that they believe that there's something wrong with them, if you will, and they express it, and then the people say, hey, let me give you a hug. And you know what? Sometimes it's hard to be a human having this journey, right? So that's the reality. And you're still loved, you're still light, you're amazing, and that kind of a thing. So yeah.
No judgment, but I always find it hard when I hear what people in the LGBTQ community have gone through. Often persecution by their own parents, and my kids. Hi, girls, if you're listening, they screw stuff up all the time. I screw stuff up when I was a kid. That was no big deal. But not that LGBTQ2 people did anything wrong, but when I hear about how their parents, basically disown them, or, there's this incredible tension between them, I find it hard, because we should be able to, as people, apologize, right?
Yeah.
Or accept, especially the people that we love. And I don't know where we've gotten to, where we really think that we have the ability. I don't even have the skill to judge your life, what's right and wrong for you, right? Like, I can't yeah, if you kill somebody, I guess if you just walk up on the street, but when, for example, when you see a news story, you have no idea what's really going on there, right?
No.
Like, I think that judging people like that, especially people that you should have a responsibility to care for, and I do think caring is a responsibility. What do you think? Like, I think that
I believe that that's like one of the most important things that we can do, and we have so many opportunities to do it, right?
Yes.
I mean, love is just basically caring attention is all that love is, right? Mm-hmm. And we have like that opportunity with every human being we meet, right? Yeah. And like, just to have the, like, whatever it is, you're at the, the Starbucks barista and you say, hey, love that tie, that's awesome, right? Or like, I what a great smile you have, or whatever the connection that you can make with that person, or just thank you so much. I was, jonesing for a coffee and here it is, thank you, whatever. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say that we have not so much time, and maybe you don't want to share it, and that's cool too. But you had a musical experiment with a gentleman that you and he, if you were in a lineup together, people would not put together, right? Like, you're driving a Tesla, you're an entrepreneur. Right? Like, do you want to share that?
I do. I want to tell you about Phil.
Wonderful story.
Wonderful story. Yeah, I go and I get there. And Friday morning, I'm going to go and do some stretches and do my chanting and do my yoga stuff, right? So I found a little green space that was there so I could do that. And as I'm doing it, I hear somebody singing. And it's just like, they're singing Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, right?
Oh, catnip for Allan. Somebody singing in the morning, yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Who is that? What's going on, right? So I go over, and he's in kind of like a little alcove, like an entrance to an office kind of a thing, or entrance to a building. And he's got himself sort of a little, what would you call it? A little amphitheater is what he has. Like, yeah. And this is where he likes to sing, because he sounds really good in this little amphitheater thing. And so his name is Phil. He's 67 years old. He lives on the street in Glendale, California. And, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. He doesn't live on the street. I thought he lived on the street, but he lives most of his day on the street. And then in the evening, he goes and he caretakes, if you will, for an abandoned restaurant. So he goes and just stays in this abandoned restaurant so that, like, it complies with insurance laws and nobody's trying to break in because he's there, that kind of thing. So I'm saying, well, like, so how's this work for you? He says, well, it's great. Like, my busking, going out and making music and singing songs, that I get enough tips to pay for my groceries, and my accommodations are free. So I'm like, well, how easy is it for you to pursue your passions? Like, this guy's my hero, right? He's just like, and so, really nice gentleman. We had a nice chat. I took him out for breakfast. And then while I'm taking him out for breakfast, we were talking about the busking. I said, wait a minute. Why wouldn't you set up in front of the Alex Theater, where all these people are going to be? There's going to be hundreds of people coming in and out of here. And he says, yeah, that's great. So we finish breakfast, go set up in front of the Alex Theater there. And then he would sing a song and I would sing a song, and then other people in the group wanted to sing songs. So there's a whole group of us that are just out in the sidewalk singing songs and dancing and just having fun. And then some of the other people will come in and say, hey, can I sing something too? Yeah, sure, come on up. So we had this fantastic time. And he made a shit ton of money, like $375 one episode thing, which is more than he's ever made busking, right? So he did real well on the busking part. And Phil, I never split any money with you. What the heck? No, I don't. I'm just a joke. I don't.
But that's amazing, right? Because you wouldn't normally take two guys with only singing, a love of singing, right? Yes. I mean, that's what brought you together, right? You were like, oh, yes. And that's open to all of us. right? Like there was, all you had to do was take the chance to go over and say, hey, what you doing?
Exactly. And it was him being so connected to his true essence, which is, that's what he does, right? Is go engage with people and sing with people, emboldened me, if you will, that, well, like, why am I not more forthcoming with my singing? So I sang a whack. I sang walking down the sidewalk. I sang in the grocery stores. I was singing all over. And I got like 95% really good comments. Yeah. There was one, I was walking to the Walmart and I'm singing as I'm going into the Walmart, right? You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. And this old woman comes up and says, stop that noise. And I said, thank you. And I just kept on singing, right? But like everybody else was really positive, and she was like determined that this is something she had to prevent to protect humanity.
You might spread that happiness around.
Exactly. What would happen then if people were smiling and laughing? So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm quite sure that that's not the weirdest thing that Walmart's ever seen.
I'm pretty sure not. Exactly.
Yeah, far from it. So what would you suggest? So that's a really cool story, and I'd love to talk more about that. But so all of these things, what's the one sort of takeaway, call to action that you could share with our listeners and our viewers that they could, for free and not having to drive for 36 hours and sleep in the back of your car? What could you share with them from that experience?
Well, I think that don't be afraid to make some changes. If you have an inkling, an intuition, something that tells you that this is a passion that you have or an interest that you have, that like pursue that, right? And yes, there's going to be a potential that when you change, other people won't change with you. Other people won't accept you. They will reject you, but that's okay. There's going to be other people who embrace you. And it's going to be kind of, as you move forward with that decision, you're going to find others that are more in line, in connection with you, that have a very similar type of perspective. And they're ones that are going to be the ones to support you and to love you and to say, you're doing, this is great, good for you. And you need to express yourself as you are. One thing an exercise he did that I really liked, I didn't even understand the terminology, first of all, because there's Kyle, and Kyle has a friend, Diego, and so they call this Kyle-ego, and a Kyle-ego is where you project forward. So it's been a year since the big one, right? What is your life like after that year, right? And you kind of project that forward and say, okay, well, I'm living freer here. I'm doing this here. I'm, pursuing this interest that I've always had that I was too scared to try because somebody might criticize me or somebody might judge me or, those kind of things. So it's a great exercise, right? I mean, to project forward and say, this event happened. How does my life look a year after that, right? And then you kind of build backwards, if you will. If this is where you're at, and then what are the steps you need to get there, whatever that is, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm using singing just as because I have no interest in doing that as an economic activity for me, like that's going to raise money, but it is soul fulfilling for me, and it is awesome to connect with other people, and then where they share that same passion, that same love, right? So yeah.
Well, one of the things I've read a few times about aging is that one of the things that we stop doing as we get older is we stop doing that projecting forward, right? Yeah. Because we don't, well, I'm 70 now. I don't have that much time left. I just need to, hang on to what I've got and try and, survive as best I can. And when people are asked about the best times of their lives, it was usually, when they were coming out of college or university or starting a new career or a new relationship. And it was all that, dreaming and projecting forward that, for societal reasons, we somehow steal from our seniors and say, well, you're almost done, so you just need to not cause many problems and try and put enough money away that you're not going to be a burden to anyone. And you the ads are everywhere. But, I really think that we need to take back the right to dream at any stage of our lives.
I agree.
And say, wow, maybe I could do this. And maybe you'll never do it. But if you think back to when you felt free to dream, and I think this is almost a universal statement, you were happier. Not you, but all of us, right?
Well, how much hope do you have if you have, dreams and aspirations about the future, right? And about trying something new and trying something that scares you a little bit, right? It's harder to do things that scare you when you keep on pushing the envelope a little bit, right? Like, but that's kind of where you need to go. What does kind of, gee, I'm not so sure how this is going to work out, but I feel called to give this a try, right? And so they keep on talking about what's right, what's coming up for you, right? What does your soul speak to you about, kind of thing? What is important for you to try to do, to be, kind of a thing, right? And I love that. I think that makes really good sense. And again, as you said, at any age, right? At any age, what is the next evolution for you? And as long as we are healthy, we always have those opportunities to do that, right? To try
even when we're not healthy, we may have to change a bit, right? Like I know the chair. At first, I was horrified, right? I'm like, oh, this is it, man. Like I was so physical, and I used to be an imposing guy. I was almost 6'2", and 215 pounds, most of it muscle. And I was like a man. I was, and now I look everyone in the naval. I have to. It's an effort to stand up and shake hands and meet somebody eye to eye. But I've just had to reframe those dreams a bit, right? Sure. Including getting out of the chair, which may or may not happen. But so I don't think there's any excuse not to hope or dream. That's what I think.
I agree entirely. Yeah, and anybody can make, just kind of getting in connection with who you are and what's important for you and what things you value and what difference you want to make in this world and what, how you want to contribute through every day of your life, kind of a thing, that the more we can get dialed into what that is, the easier that life flows, right? I'm hoping to have a greater focus on staying in my generous and joyous flow. And then as I connect other spiritual beings who are having this human experience, that I have a way to encourage them, support them, assist them, help them in their journey, and receive and appreciate the same help and support from them, right? That we're all on the same path. And then wherever we are on that path, how can we help along to the next level of your unfoldment? And hopefully those levels just keep on going and going and going, and you try this, and then you've learned something about yourself, and then you try this and you learn something about yourself, and that kind of a thing, right? And to release, so many of us get trapped in where we've been told something, especially when we're real small, right? And then we've internalized that as, oh, I can't do this for this reason because Auntie said this to me, 46 years ago, that, whatever that is. And then, you created this belief that there's something wrong with you or deficient in you or not enough in you, right? And we're all enough, right? We just, and that's kind of the fact in terms of figuring out what we are. We're the only one. There's only one Scott Sweetman in the world who has, there might be somebody with the same name, but nobody else who has what you've learned, the experiences you've had, that kind of a thing, and where you're moving forward in your life. You're the only one that has that. There's only one Allan Friesen. And so, everybody has their own, and everybody, I kind of liken this to singing, that we all need to find and utilize our voice, right? And that's kind of the seat of our authenticity, if you will, right? And every voice is unique, right? I mean, that's why we can use voice recognition to do our banking, right? Because it's a unique pattern that each one of us, the 8 billion people or whatever the number is now, 8 billion different voices that all are unique and special and delightful, right? And there's no good or bad. It's just, your unique expression, right? I mean, you listen to some people that sing and it's just like, oh, that guy's horrible. I hate but then maybe other people think that of my voice too, right? So it's just kind of finding those that what you're expressing is what they want to be receiving, kind of a thing, right? And how do you do that? You express it, and then you find those that are in linked up with you in terms of that regard. So
you will find your people. If you quest long enough, you will find your people, right?
I got to believe that. Yeah, I got to believe that.
I agree too. Well, let's end it there. We went a little bit over time. Thank you for sharing that with us. And what an amazing, amazing thing. Just keep going, brother. You're doing great. And I hope that others will be inspired by your journey. And it made no sense for you to jump and sleep in your car and travel 40 hours away. But it did.
Hang out with them, have a great chat, and then I'm talking with Kim, and she's like amazing, and so we're chatting, and then how somehow, and because I build this into every conversation, it came up about that I like to sing, right? And she says, "Oh, well, what do you sing?" So I started singing that song that. You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. And then she holds my hands and we sing this song together, right? And I was just like, oh, that was beautiful. We did a little turn, a little dance, and sang the song. Oh, it was amazing. So
yeah, dancing and singing and wonderful open people. Oh man, that's where it's at.
Exactly. Okay.
Well, from my good friend, Allan Friesen, the acapellist, who's on yet another great journey shared with us. Thank you so much, brother. And thanks everyone for joining us.
Yes. Keep yourself well. Get a match into our Indigenous brothers and sisters. See ya.
Good night, everyone.